at managing the organisation. Assessment Task 3.1, Project 3, Innovation Project. So for this particular task, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be having a look at an innovation policy, and you're going to be comparing it to another innovation policy, and you're also going to be comparing both of those innovation policies to current trends in the early childhood services today. Then following on from that, you're going to be developing your own innovation policy, and you're going to be developing an implementation plan. So as a manager, how you're going to implement a brand new policy, and you're going to be developing a training session. So the lesson plan for your training session will be how you're going to actually conduct your very first session in implementing a new innovation policy to the service as a manager. So task A is all about the prior research and the prior learning in regards to innovation policies and current trends in early childhood services. So what's going to happen here is your assessor is going to give you 2 innovation policies to compare and to have a look at. It does say that if your service, your centre has an innovation policy, that you can use that one. However, if you don't, your trainer is going to give you the Blue Bay policy, and the trainer will also supply you another innovation policy. So what you need to do is you need to do 2 things in this assessment task. The first thing you need to do is you need to actually look at the 2 policies and compare the 2 policies. You need to compare them against current trends in the industry. So that would require you to have done a bit of research into current trends. So looking at the 2 innovation policies and comparing them against the current trends you're seeing now in early childhood services. You also then are going to compare the 2 policies together, so areas that they are similar and areas that they are different. And you're also going to make some suggestions for improvements in the policies that you've read. You're going to present all of this either in a table or a report format, and that's going to complete task A. So now you've done your research, you've compared some innovation policies, you know a little bit about innovation and how a policy would look. You're now going to develop your own innovation policy. Now there are no templates for this because you are going to present this one yourself, obviously using a Word document. I will give you a little bit of a tip that online there are pre-made templates. They're not pre-made with information in them that you can use, but they are pre-made with just the formatting and the setup, which can make it look quite professional and nice. So you can have a look at that. So you need to think about if you were a manager and you want to develop an innovation policy for your centre, what it is you would want to include. You need to make sure that you have headings and information for all of the sections that have been dot pointed here. So your innovation policy will not be accepted if you don't include all of these sections. So I'm just going to go through a few of them that you might need a little bit of help with. So when it talks about formal and informal learning opportunities, I want you to think of formal learning opportunities as opportunities where people are actually undertaking courses or short courses or professional development training sessions. And informal learning opportunities are learning opportunities that are happening inside of your environment, maybe a mentoring program, maybe on-the-spot training, those sorts of opportunities, maybe meetings or discussions. So have a think about how you're going to have formal and informal learning opportunities for your staff. You also then need to look at how you're going to get feedback in regards to innovative ideas, and then how you're actually going to work through and evaluate the innovative ideas that come to you, and how you're going to prioritize which ones are valuable and that you're going to move forward with. You also then need to think about how success will be rewarded. Be very careful here. Okay, so just be very careful with what is your reward going to be, and think very clearly about the different things it could be. And then your date of review, and then also your stakeholders and how they're going to be informed. So once you've actually done that policy, it's really important that you present it to your trainer and get a little bit of feedback. And this is where we're moving into task C. So you're going to arrange a time with your assessor or your workplace supervisor, but it's going to be your assessor for this task. And you're also going to present your policy to 3 other colleagues. So you can choose the colleagues that you would like to present this feedback to. So you're going to present your policy to them. So after you present the policy, you're going to get feedback. And we want you to note that feedback down and also to submit that feedback as well. To make sure you're covering the requirements of Task C, you need to make sure that while you're presenting your policy to the assessor and the colleagues, that you're actually including all of these 3 dot points. It says that it should take 15 to 30 minutes, but 10 to 15 minutes is completely fine. And as it states here, you must take notes. Your assessor here will also be completing a checklist to ensure that you've completed that correctly. Then you've got Task D. So now you've got your research done, you've got your innovation policy created, you've implemented it by discussing it with your staff. Now what you're going to do is create an implementation plan. So what this means is you're going to think about, as a manager, I've now created a policy, but how am I going to get my staff to learn about it, be trained in it, and work with it effectively? And this is what you're going to be planning for. So it's called an implementation plan for your workplace innovation policy. So you're going to complete this on a Word document as well, and you also need to cover all of these dot points. Once you've completed that, I would advise you to maybe let your trainer have a look and give you some feedback. Then you're going to go into Task E. Task E is the implementation stage. So for this task, you're now required to commence the implementation of your policy by holding a 15 to 20 minute training session. So if you remember at the start, I said you were going to conduct some research, develop a policy, develop an implementation plan of how you're going to implement that to your staff, and then you're going to develop a training session for the very first session that you're going to implement your policy to the staff. And that's what Task E is all about. So you're going to have to think really hard and plan a training session. So it's most likely in a mock situation would be during a staff meeting where you implement your first 15 to 20 minute training session. So in this training session, you need to make sure that you're producing the policy for everyone. You're going through all of the information here. So you're going through the role of innovation, the intent of your policy, how they can access it, how they will contribute to it, and the methods that you're going to go through to identify and evaluate innovative ideas that will be presented to you. As part of your training session that you're going to conduct in class, you've also got to make sure that you have a little group activity that they can do. So this group activity can be really simple, it can be really quick, but the idea of the group activity is that from that activity, staff are going to be able to, and it's mock staff, are going to be able to present some innovative ideas to you. So you need to be creative in thinking on what that activity will be. So then what's going to happen here is that your assessor should be assessing this as well and observing you. Now, it will be up to the assessor as to whether some of these assessments can be done in groups, but the designing of and creating of the innovation policy will need to be individual, and the presenting of your policy to your assessor will need to be individual as well. So once you've completed all of that, you obviously have to submit. So you need to submit your research, you need to submit your innovation policy, you then need to submit the feedback that you got from presenting your innovation policy, you then need to submit your implementation plan, and you need to submit your plan for your training session, and obviously you need to conduct that training session as well. So you're going to be submitting quite a few documents here. Press the submit button and send that through to your assessor. If there's anything you're still not sure of, it's really important to sit down and have a chat with your assessor so that you understand this assessment thoroughly. Thanks, guys.